Weekly Rot Report, episode 6. I have my list of topics here. Pretty abysmal. We'll see what I can do with a list of 2 things. But the first thing on my list is the Christina P. Tom Segura divorce. The downfall of the Rogan sphere has been, I wouldn't go as far as saying it's a replacement for it, but it is giving Girl World lolcow adjacent content. I usually have a special interest in Brendan Schaub. He's my favorite lolcow of the Rogan sphere. I like to study CTE and the effects of taking too many blows to the head. So I like watching Brendan Schaub snark. But Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer have been catching my attention lately. In a bad way, of course. So I've been indulging in Christina P. Tom Segura divorce coverage lately. And I have to say, I think I like Christina. I think I do. I think she's cool. Especially now that she's not going to be married to Tom anymore. You know? If you don't know, Tom and Christina are comedians. And they have a podcast together called Your Mom's House. And for the last few months, they've been doing episodes separately. And they weren't addressing anything. So finally, Christina does this episode with this guy, Duncan Trussell. I don't know anything about him, but I do love the shirt that he was wearing in the episode. That's all I can say. And they're ripping cigs and drinking on the podcast while they talk about divorces. I poured myself a glass of lemon lime seltzer in a wine glass. In honor. Oh, also, if you didn't know, Christina P. is a cancer survivor. She overcame cancer and now she's getting divorced. She talked about how her doctor actually said that the divorce rate after cancer is really high. And Christina is nothing but nice during the whole episode. She's like, Tom is the father of my kids. I can't talk poorly about him. She says that she grew up a child of divorce and that hearing her mom talk crap about her dad was something that she would not want to subject her kids to. But here's what stuck out to me. This is what I want to talk about and hyperfixate on. When if you don't know the story, Christina P. has a big crush on Robert Smith from The Cure. And there's actually a clip of Tom. He did a Robert Smith makeover and surprised her, dressed up as Robert Smith, and it looked really good. So in the studio, this is my studio. In the studio, they have these pictures. You know those pictures that are like famous people's faces superimposed on paintings of like Napoleon Bonaparte, not Dynamite. So behind Christina, there's one of Tom as like Thor or like Conan the Barbarian kind of a thing. And on the other side, there's one of Robert Smith. And it's meant to look like a Dutch master kind of portrait painting. And she's talking about how people change. She's like, we made it 20 years. It's a pretty good run. But, 20 years is a lot of time. People change. And what stuck out to me is that if there is anybody who is an excellent example of how people do not change, it's Robert Smith. Robert Smith has been with his wife since they're 14 years old. They met in drama club. The song Just Like Heaven is about them going to the beach as teenagers and kissing on the beach and being so overcome with emotion by the kiss that you want to faint. Did you know that? Robert Smith hasn't even changed his style in all these years. He's always looked the same. Tom lost a bunch of weight and now he's getting divorced. Christina P. has always been hot. She was on, I forgot until I watched the last episode, that she was on Road Rules. And she can pull off red lipstick. Do you know how hard that is? Pull off red lipstick. Everyone is blaming Tom, and I'm still gonna blame Tom. But what if Christina got sick of his shit and she initiated it? That I could see that happening. Maybe Christina wanted it. And now I'm on a little bit of The Cure kick. Oh. Reminded me of how good The Cure is. And I also, the Cocteau twins. I put on Heaven or Las Vegas while I made fried eggplant the other day. And I was like, this is the sickest shit I've ever listened to in my life. Oh. Before that, the only time I had ever listened to the Cocteau twins was when I found someone made a mashup of Pitch the Baby and Obsessed by Mariah Carey. Talk about the sickest shit I've ever heard. If you take anything away from this stupid video, let it be the Mariah Carey Cocteau twins mashup. Mariah Carey also mentions Napoleon in that song. I just mentioned Napoleon. Did you catch it? How good is your listening comprehension? Also, have you ever heard the Kids Bop version of We Belong Together? You also have to listen to that. You have to wait until the very end. You have to wait until the very end to know what I'm talking about. But it's worth, you have to. It is otherwise a really great performance of the song. It's Mariah Carey. Not easy. She does a great job. And at the very end, she can't hold out the note. They did her dirty. They totally did her dirty. They should have done a fade out. They should get the singer on a YouTube video. You know how they do those like behind the meme videos? They should get her on one of those. I want to know about her and the full story behind that recording. Maybe I'll seek her out. I'll get her on the channel. Hey, I have a real opportunity for you. I have dozens of followers who would like to hear your story. YouTube has been so boring lately. It's either none of my favorite creators are posting or I can't find anything new. Can't find anything. And does anyone else feel like every video they click on is someone repeating themselves over and over? Like looping. Absolutely looping for an hour. All of this stuff about how our attention spans are in the toilet. Maybe it's just hard to find media that is worth keeping our attention spans anymore. In my last video, I talked about how the art of the critic is dead. The art of the journalist is also dead. Yes, I consider YouTube drama commentary to be journalism, as we should. We should consider it journalism. The news is certainly dead. The news is dead and it insults my intelligence. Is the weekly rot report journalism? Yes. To be more specific, they're think pieces. Kevin once compared me to Hunter S. Thompson after he watched one of my rot reports, and that is not a joke. I was like, whoa. Is this gonzo journalism? Think about it. I rewatched the SpongeBob movie yesterday. I logged it on Letterboxd. I gave it 5 stars. The top review on Letterboxd said something like, I realized that nothing is stopping this movie from being a 5 out of 5. And I said, yeah. That's absolutely true. I watched a lot of movies this week. Well, I couldn't find any YouTube videos. So I want to talk about the movie that I liked the least out of all these movies. And I want to preface this review by saying I'm pretty artsy-fartsy, and I have a pretty high threshold, but I do have a limit. So I worry that when people hear my bad review for this film, they're just going to say, oh, it's because she's a normie. That's why she doesn't think this movie is that good. But maybe this movie just isn't that good. I don't think this movie's that good. And the movie I am talking about is A Ghost Story. It is an A24 film from 2017 with Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara. Skip this if you do not want any spoilers for A Ghost Story. So the movie opens up with Rooney Mara, she's the wife, telling her husband, Casey Affleck, that when she was a kid, she would leave little notes in little, like, cracks and holes. She said that it was like leaving a little piece of herself and anywhere she went. And we see this couple and they love each other. They rub noses together and they mumble to each other a lot.
And I would fold them up really small.
What'd they say?
There's hardly any dialogue, and when there is, they're mumbling. And Casey Affleck gets into a car accident. And when Rooney Mara has to identify the body, she walks away, and Casey Affleck gets up from the stretcher with the sheet still on his head. He goes around the whole movie looking like a Charlie Brown ghost. A portal opens up in the wall of the hospital. Kevin makes a backrooms joke, and I laugh. Casey Affleck chooses not to go through the portal, leaving him to roam the earth. He goes back to the house to see that Rooney Mara is miserable without him. She comes home from the funeral, and she sees that somebody leaves her a pie on the countertop. And we watch Rooney Mara scarf down this pie for, no joke, 5 minutes. Kevin and I, we reminisce about the time we watched Under the Skin, and there is the long-held shot of Scarlett Johansson looking at this slice of chocolate cake. Kevin did not like Under the Skin. I liked Under the Skin. I would watch it again. The only thing that I thought was weird was, why did they make her have that accent in the movie? But this movie, A Ghost Story, has a lot of long-held shots. Now, I thought this scene the acting was incredible. It was very impressive that she actually did eat this pie like that. It is far from being my biggest issue with the film. Do I think it should have been edited down a little bit? Yes. I got the point at the 2-minute mark. So Rooney Mara then throws up the pie in the toilet. And Casey Affleck is watching this the whole time. He watches as she listens to a song that he wrote, and he watches as she brings home another man, and he gets pissed. And he knocks a bunch of books off of the shelves. And she thinks, I gotta get out of this place. So she starts fixing it up and puts it up for sale. And while she fixes it up, she's painting the molding. And she notices this crack in the molding where she puts a note in. Remember from the beginning of the film? And she moves out, and other people move into this house. He's fixated on getting this note out of the molding. And he's using his dull-ass, ghostly hand to scrape at the molding to try and get this note out. And he's pissed off about the other people in this house. And he picks up drinking glasses and plates and throws them around. And I'm like, hey, pick up a knife. Pick up a knife to scrape at the molding. Somebody might have tweezers. Somebody who moved in might have tweezers that you can grab it with instead of using your ghostly shrouded hand. So eventually they demolish the house and it becomes industrialized. It becomes this big industrial building. The area becomes a big city. And Casey Affleck, he climbs to the top of this building, and Kevin makes a bring me to life joke. And I say, damn it, you beat me to it. Casey Affleck plummets down to the ground, sending him back in time to Amish country. And I Google, Do ghosts go back in time when they fall from great heights? The only thing that I find is that time travel and ghosts do not mix. They should not mix. If you have any information that can help me come to the conclusion as to whether ghosts can go back in time if they fall from great heights, I will revise my review on Letterboxd. It will change my thoughts on this film. Casey Affleck falls asleep, and the whole Amish family that he was hanging out with, they're killed. He wakes up and sees that they've all been killed by arrows. Their carriage was ransacked. Marauders got to them. I don't know if it actually was. You don't see it, but I just wanted to say the word marauder. And then a house gets built on this land. And he sees himself and Rooney Mara buying this house. He has to relive everything again until one day he finally gets to the note. And he goes poof. And he can live in the afterlife, I think. Kesha is in a ghost story for 10 seconds. And I said, oh my God, that's Kesha. And Kevin said, that's not Kesha. And I said, how would you know what Kesha looks like better than me? It was Kesha. Maybe I didn't like this movie because Casey Affleck was in it. Speaking of creeps, we also watched the Jared Leto expose. I always knew, like, there were, rumblings about things. I never realized how, like, blatant and in our faces it all was. There is a book called Monsters, A Fan's Dilemma. And it's all about separating the art from the artist. And I think she talks a lot about Roman Polanski in it. And I haven't read it, but I've been thinking about picking it up once I whittle down my TBR. Anyway, moral of the story is buy everything secondhand, and so that we don't support these people anymore. You should support me, though. Like, comment, and subscribe. I love you. Bye.